this is the one we're going to teach you. So it's going to be super quick, probably like only about 15 minutes to make it. So it's just a little taster session today.
Cool, should we get started?
Yeah. So, to make your plant hanger, you're going to need to measure 4 lots of about 2.5 meters. So if you don't have a tape measure, then generally from your nose to about your middle finger is about 1 meter. So you could just do that 2.5 times. But we'll just quickly measure one. Thank you. Two. And 50. So once you've measured one, then you can just use that to measure your other 3. Okay, and then you'll also want to have a little bit of extra string, maybe about 1/2 meter or so for the very end, but I wouldn't worry about that now, we can cut that bit later.
So don't worry if you are a bit slower or anything, because we're going to then save this video to the IGTV after, so you can watch it as many times as you want. We've had a few more people just signing in, so just to reiterate, you're going to need 4 strands of string, 2.5 meters long.
Roughly, doesn't need to be bang on.
Your scissors, and then your plant pot that you want to hang in the hanger as well. So
Please be careful if you're using scissors and not accompanied by an adult. So, if you've all managed to chop your yarns, and then you want to fold them in half, so that you've got all the loose ends at one end, and then a sort of loop at the other.
So it's going to be doubled over on itself and make it like as even as you can at the end. It's probably not going to be exact.
No. But yeah, fold them roughly in half.
And then maybe, can you see from there? Or maybe if you go there, I can hold the camera and then it'll be against the white wall, so it'll be a bit easier.
So once you've folded them all in half, you kind of hold them in a loop, then you're just going to tie a knot, so that we're doing this bit here. So it's literally just a knot but leaving a loop, so that then you can hang it from something. So I find it easiest to just loop them over my finger and then like that, and then you just pull the loop through. So it's just a regular knot with all the strands, but just make sure you leave a loop coming through.
Just going to move that light just a little bit closer because it's quite dark still. So we are in our dingy basement flat. So.
Yeah. And it's a bright day, but it's never very bright down here. That makes it brighter, I think. Yeah, when you, yeah,
that's a bit better.
So, I just love that you're matching the yarn. Well, you know.
Yeah, so we will save this to our IGTV after, so if you are a bit late, you can just watch along and then do it in your own time.
Yeah. So you should have then a loop for you to hang your hanger from, and then you'll have 8 strands coming down, and we're just going to sort of roughly divide them into 4. because we're going to treat each pair as sort of one length. So what you want to do is leave a drop probably about 50 centimetres. It doesn't really matter.
Depends how long you want your hanger, really.
Yeah. But that one...
What's that, about an arm's? Four
like,
arms length?
A little bit longer than your forearm, probably. But that's really just visually. And then, with the two pieces, you just are going to do exactly the same thing. But this time you don't leave a loop, you just tie it in a knot. Just a regular knot. And then you take the next two. If I crouch down, maybe it'll
it's a bit brighter.
Block the light. And then, so we're basically aiming to get 4 knots, like we have on here, 4 knots that are at the same point. So if I hold my thumb where I tied the first one, it tends to help get them roughly level. They're never going to be exact. And then just tie another knot. And then you can wiggle it up and down a little bit to try and get it, but that's pretty much...
I've just realised we're matching nails today as well. Band uniform.
And then, so, put my finger roughly where, so it wants to be about there. Tie another knot. And then the 4th one. There we go. So then you've got 4 knots roughly at the same point on each of your strands.
Oh, the door's just gone. Give me 1 sec.
Sorry. Don't know who it is. A mystery. Oh, it's a delivery for anyone who's interested. Anything exciting?
That's me ordering more pyjamas. That's all I buy these days. So I can fit into right now.
So then, once you've got your 4 knots in a row, then you just want to take, so...
Just move that one up a bit.
So
move it.
Yeah.
See a bit better.
So take 2 of them, and then I'm going to take one of the strands from below each knot. So rather than taking the 2 on the same strand, it's 1 from each. And then we're going to tie those in a knot.
So this, would you measure your pot a little bit against it?
You could, if you want to try and be... So if I wanted my knots to sit there, or maybe I want the first ones to sit maybe slightly above it, you could either sit your knots there and then put your thumb roughly where you're going to tie the knot, and then you know that your knot is going to sit on your pot there. Or I'm going to do it like I did that one, so I think I'll tie the knot about there.
Yeah.
And then you just do the same thing all the way round then. So you take the next one and then take 1 from each side. Again, put your thumb roughly, kind of line it up with the previous one. Again, they're never going to be like bang on exactly the same level, but because your pot is sort of slightly round and the knots aren't all going to sit next to each other, then you probably won't notice if they're a little bit out.
It's just a nice rough and ready one, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, these aren't sort of official macrame knots, but it kind of gives you the idea of how you can use the knot, the sort of structure of the knots to make your hanger. So then take this one. And then the fourth one. And then at this point, you probably want to check that your pot fits inside, because twine can be, it's not very stretchy if you're using twine. Same with string. So as you can see, yeah, at the moment we're all right. And then we're going to also measure, because we're going to do another row of knots. So you take, again, the sort of one from each side, like that. So about there.
And you could just leave it there if you wanted to, but
yeah,
it's nice to, creates a bit more of a basket kind of.
Yeah, little
look,
basket,
isn't it?
sorry.
So then you're just doing exactly the same,
yeah,
aren't you? Just going round and...
Exactly. You put your thumb roughly where you want the knot to sit. That seems to sort of help get it roughly level.
And make sure you do the one that's kind of naturally sitting next to it as well.
Yeah, you just sort of almost work your way round in a circle, tying the knots. And then if you find that you've done it a little tight and your pot doesn't sit in, you can just undo the knots and just drop them down a little bit, and that'll give it a little bit more give. I think that's should be all right. Let's check if it fits in. Yeah.
Nice.
And then we'll just do one last knot at the bottom, and you've got your little basket to hold your pot. So the last bit, you just need to snip another length of yarn, probably about the length of your forearm. And then pop your pot back in your hanger, and then just hold underneath sort of where you want the knot to sit. So about there. So make sure you've got all the strands and sort of pull them all down nice and taut. Then you get your short strand that you just chopped, put it under your thumb, leaving a little tuft at the top. Make a little U shape or loop, and then just wrap around everything, including the loop. So all of the ends that are dangling down and that loop that you just made. And wrap around maybe 6 or 7 times. And then on the last time, poke your fingers through the loop that you made to pull the end through. Then hold on to the end but not the loop, and pull upwards until you'll see the knot sort of disappear. It's a little bit tricky with twine because it's so stiff, but then the knot disappears underneath here, and you'll just end up with the two ends.
Don't pull it too hard because it will end up just coming
out the top.
out the top.
Yeah.
So you can just always redo it.
Unravel,
that happens.
And then just check that you're happy. At this point you could loosen your knot down a little bit, and then but that looks quite cute. And then you can just snip your ends off and snip your tassel to however long you want it to be, and that's it. So just snip that. So again, if you need to rewatch it, we'll put it up on our story for like the next... Did it go on for the next 24 hours?
It will stay up forever. It'll be on the IGTV.
Okay,
so you can make
be there forever.
Yeah.
So you can watch it again. So how long do you want your tassel if it's going to hang?
I trust you.
There we go. So give it a little haircut.
Very nice.
And there we go.
Woo! Just
Ta-da.
out of stuff you have lying around the house.
You could do ones with like different coloured string.
Yeah.
Or like, I think I've seen ones before where people have like cut strands of old fabric, and then like, so long as the bits are long enough, and then you can make it out of that.
Yeah.
Recycle, reuse.
Hope you enjoyed, and make sure you send us pictures of your creations because we love to see them.
Yeah.
Remember you can rewatch because we'll pop it up on the IGTV. Just before we sign off, I'm going to show you. This is a much more sort of detailed, intricate one, but it still is a beginner's. So if you enjoyed that and you fancy having a go at one of these, we are going to be teaching a virtual workshop in a couple of weeks on the 23rd.
23rd.
So Saturday at 3 o'clock.
So yeah, 2 weeks today.
Yeah. So if you fancy that, we've got 3 ticket options. So you can either buy just the ticket, which is £10, and use your own materials that you've got at home, or you can buy a kit from us, where you'll get the cut yarn in your desired colour. So we've got 7 colours available. Let me just show you.
Beige.
So we have beige, light grey, mid grey, charcoal, black, mustard and green. So you'll get whichever colour you choose all pre-cut for you, and then you'll also get a macrame hoop and an S-hook, and then you can also choose to add a plain white pot as well. So that will be about an hour and a half long, so that'll be a nice Saturday activity for you all. So
we'll put the link to that. It'll be on our Instagram.
So it's actually on there already. So if you want to go onto our profile in the bio, it will just be the Zoom workshop. You just click on there, and then all the details are on there, and you can purchase your ticket or your kit, whatever you prefer.
Yep.
Cool.
And also, if during lockdown you've got any friends' birthdays or maybe a hen do or something that you're missing, then we can arrange to sort of create a little party package for you and a group of friends if you want a sort of private Zoom class. So if anyone would be interested in that, then get in touch and we can kind of arrange depending on how many of you there are and stuff, and you can choose your date and your time and we'll work it out, and you can do a private class with your friends.
Well, thanks so much for joining us today, and we hope that entertained you for a little while.
Yeah.
And send us pictures.
Yeah.
Bye. Stay safe, everyone.